We're going to go to the association first. And there's been a lot of rumblings as we're around 28 games left in the season before the playoffs. How good are these teams? Who's actually the teams that we know the narrative how nobody hates the NBA more than the media that covers the NBA. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on some positives here. There's a lot of talk about teams that are good, stink, good players aren't good, et cetera, et cetera. We can go on and on. Shaq doesn't even watch the Pistons, as he alluded to after congratulating Chauncey Billups as the head coach. So we're going to go ahead and give our top 5 NBA rankings as of right now. Remember, this is not the standings. So record only plays a small part of this. These are our top 5 teams, more or less, who we think are the 5 best teams. So we're going to go in order of who we think could win a championship, more or less, is how you think about it. So these will be our top 5 teams, regardless of record, stats, vibes, coaching. Well, coaching, I guess, plays a part, but like coach's face, whatever it is, these are going to be our top 5 teams from 5 to 1. Kelcey, I know you've been looking forward to this one, too, because I know you've had some things to say, and this time it will not involve your Kings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not involving the Kings. Also, not going to involve any podcast hosts potentially getting suspended from podcast hosting. But yeah, you know what? I digress.
You know what? That's a perfect prelude. So that's going to go and get right into it. We're going to go 5 to 1. I'm going to go and give my 5 first. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. And when I say the bottom, it's not even really the bottom. So we're looking at number 5 out of 30. I'm going to start with the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe they are 3rd in the West, if not 4th. They're kind of right knocking in the door in that competitive range from 2 to 4. Where I think they could get really, really dangerous is they're a well-coached team. They're a very well-balanced team too. Like they're not very lopsided. You look at teams like team that won't be on this list, surprise, the Bucks. They have arguably the best duo. The problem is everything else doesn't work, and they randomly lose games they have no business losing. Even though Giannis is giving you 31, 12, and 6, Dame's giving you like 25, 6, and 6 and 4, or something like that. And yet they just find a way to lose a lot of games. So this team's a little the opposite, where they're very well balanced. Where I think they will get even better and be dangerous is right now you can make the case. It's pretty well thought out that Jaren Jackson Jr. is their best player. Defensively, offensively, arguably a second-team All-NBA caliber season in the mix for Defensive Player of the Year now that the odds-on favorite will not be eligible due to that unfortunate incident that he had with the blood clot. So it's going to be Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson are the 2 frontrunners, I believe. And that's even with John Morant. That's John Morant hasn't even fully returned to being John Morant, like pre-John Morant-ness, if we want to call it that. He's shown flashes. He's still good. He's giving you 20 and 8, give or take. If he can get to that form of giving you 24 and 8, 25, a few of those, oh my gosh, like when he almost destroyed a man 48 hours ago from the time of this recording, with that dunk that was almost there but wasn't quite there. I think those are the flashes you need, that takeover John Morant, where he was, for lack of better terms, a lot of people thought he would be the Anthony Edwards before Anthony Edwards, as far as that next American basketball player that could kind of take the mantle of, oh, he's that dude. Then he John Moranted it away. But I think if you can get a little bit more of that pizzazz with what Jaren Jackson is doing in that well-balanced team, I like the Grizzlies a lot. I think they can make a little bit of noise come playoff time, and they're already in the top 4 in the West. So it's not like they're that far off in the first place. It's not like we're picking a team from the depths or anything. So we're going to go with Grindhouse at number 5.
All right, fair enough. I don't agree, but you know what? I leave it at that.
That's perfectly fair. We'll go and get through 4 to 1 because I'm sure you'll probably disagree with playing more. But number 4, this is going to be a goofy one too. I got the Denver Nuggets. They have the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic, in my opinion. Everything after that is a little. Russell Westbrook's been the best he's looked since arguably what he was with Washington. Much better than he looked in those 2 LA teams where they basically left him out to dry. He looks awesome. Jamal Murray has his moments. Michael Porter Jr. can still hit the threes at a high quality clip. But there's just some weird moments where Denver just kind of falls into a lull. They'll get really hot. They worked all the way up to that 2nd seed. Then they get a little bit cold. They get a really bit hot. They get really cold. And I'm almost worried they're too dependent on Nikola Jokic running the offense. Just because he can run it like a well-oiled machine and a perfect conductor doesn't mean he should do it all the time. Especially if he's going to get clawed and grabbed and slashed up and look like he just got done fighting Magomed Ankalaev at the end of an NBA game with how many scratches he has on his arms. I want to see Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, and those guys feed a little bit more into themselves without falling off Nikola Jokic. But number 4, Denver Nuggets. Once again, you have the best player in the world. You're in every single game. Number 3, we're going with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Best team in the West record-wise. SGA arguably MVP, depending on who you talk. If you talk to anyone in Denver, they'll yell at you. If you talk to anyone in OKC, they will yell at you the opposite way. They, once again, well-balanced team. They won a game by like 10 points without Shea, Chet, and half the starting lineup even playing. You got Williams, Dort. They're a very loaded team. Like they are truly that good, and Shea is the best at getting at points per game. He's the leading scorer in the NBA, I believe. One of the best in recent memory too, if I'm not mistaken. It's up to like 33 now. He's incredible. We're gonna go Oklahoma City at 3. Number 2, we got the Boston Celtics. Once again, you got to try and beat those two in a 5-game series. You got to try and beat J squared, Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum in a 7-game series. Good luck. By the way, you still have arguably the best backcourt in the NBA defensively with Drew Holiday and Derek White. Oh, by the way, Peyton Pritchard can randomly give you 40 off the bench in a game where Jalen and Jason don't play. And Derek White can also give you 40 at any given moment, as he's shown. They are so well balanced. And Kristaps Porzingis, we haven't even seen. Hardly at all. Like, we get him
Yeah.
in space at this point. Al Horford can still move. I don't understand how, but he can still move his feet and play defense. At 1,050 years old, he can still move. Like, that man was playing college basketball before half of our listeners were born. Well, maybe not half of them, but at least some of them were born. He's defying age right now with what he's asked to do. Is just a versatile big man in that offense. His shoot threes entirely too much for my liking, considering how good they are when they don't depend on it. But I get it, analytics, blah 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 blah. Still, arguably the best roster, top to bottom, in my opinion. So we're gonna put the Celtics at number 2, which is gonna lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 1. It's not the standings, but they are so high up in the standings, it does play a part of it. Donovan Mitchell is having statistically, I'm putting extra quotes there for the audio listeners, his worst season statistically, arguably, as far as like numbers, efficiency, etc. Because he's basically taking a step back. He's like, oh, if they don't focus on me, I'm going to drop 40. But as soon as they do, Evan Mobley's going to give you 20 and 10. Jared Allen's going to give you 15 and 10. Darius Garland can give you 20 and 8 at give any moment. DeAndre Hunter, what a pickup that has been. Like, my goodness, he has been incredible for them. The Kansas City Chiefs have lost more recently than the Cleveland Cavaliers have at the time of this recording. That is how absolutely incredible they have been. Off the bench, Isaac Okoro, Ty Jerome, 6th man of the year, arguably. Like, that is a very good team. Kenny Atkinson has them rolling coach of the year. He just had the magic sauce. He stepped right in with basically the exact same roster last year. He's like, nah, just put a little paprika on there and we're good to go. So you know what? We're going to put Cleveland Cavaliers at number 1. So, Kelcey, that's what I'm looking at for my top 5.
Yeah, I don't hate most of your top 5. I really just don't like number 5.
All right, so
So
we have some similarities. All right, take it
yeah.
away, Kelsey.
So number 5 for me, I'm going with the Bucks. I know you said they're not that team, but they do have Giannis still, who is arguably player 1B in the conversation for best player in the world. You still have Dame and Dame time when it comes to the playoffs, which at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And on top of that, you know what? As much as I give stick to their coaching staff, they know how to win. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Bucks number 5 here, especially as we get closer to the championship time, to Dame time, to a 50 piece from Chick-fil-A time for Giannis after he lifts the trophy. I think he wants another trophy just because he had another kid. So now he needs to have another trophy so he can give both kids a trophy.
That's right.
But you know what? Maybe I'm speculating with that one, but I hope that's the case. I think that would be hilarious. It feels like a very Giannis thing to do. So yeah, that's my number 5. Number 4, I'm going with another team you didn't mention out of the West, the Golden State Warriors. Right now, absolutely tearing it up. And despite, I guess, whatever argument happened between Jimmy Buckets and Steve Kerr going off the court that last night, I don't know what happened there, but the team is still absolutely killing it right now, 9-1 in the last 10, which is insane. And again, you still have Steph, you have Jimmy coming in, and you have a team that plays above average when it counts. They play way above average when it counts. And look, we all know you got to win. You got to shoot threes to win. And that team can shoot threes. And now they got Jimmy doing what Jimmy does, even if it's in spurts. It's all you need. So yeah, give me the Warriors at number 4. And then here's where things come pretty much identical. Just kind of mix and match where these are placed. Number 3, I have the Celtics. Everything you said about the Celtics, yes, I agree. Don't want to face them. If I'm any team in the playoffs, there's only one other team in the East I wouldn't like to face, and they're higher up on this list. Go figure. And there's only one team in the West that I wouldn't want to face, and they're also higher up in this list. So yeah, number 2. So after the Celtics at number 3, number 2, I'm going with the Thunder. Yeah, everything you said about SGA, he's my MVP pick. Absolutely fantastic. If you are underestimating OKC because they're young, the door's over there. Don't let it hit you on the way out. or just sit there and watch with your jaw dropped. That's fine too. It's just, that team's a fun team to watch, and they're going to be a fun team to watch for a lot of years if they can keep it together. OKC, don't let history repeat itself.
Don't let $4 million break this up again.
Exactly. $4 million to lose $75 million, or whatever. Anyways, number one, though, after the Thunder at number two, number one is going to be that Cleveland Cavaliers team, the only team to wrap a playoff spot up. Literally already selling Central Division Championship shirts already around here, already running their playoff mantras out there on T-shirts. I don't think Cleveland's been this happy since LeBron came back and won a championship. Like, this seems to be the most excitement Cleveland's had because it's not coming from any other sports team other than the Guardians, and well, it's still the Guardians. So yeah, they renamed the arena, and it seems like it's all working out well. And by renamed, they literally just got rid of mortgage out of Rocket Mortgage. So that's just Rocket Arena. But yeah, give me the Cavs number one. That team's just absolutely fantastic, top to bottom. As you mentioned, Ty Jerome. I think it's like the fact that guy hasn't been talked about as much as a sixth man of the year is a shame. He should easily win sixth man of the year, and it shouldn't go to anybody else doing what he's doing right now. So yeah, Cavs at one. So there you go.
You know, Rocket Arena is a good name for it, considering they're taking off right now. They literally are selling a Central Champion gear before March Madness's bracket is even set,
Yeah.
which is just absolutely crazy. Like, my goodness, they were selling championship gear by the time NFL free agency started. Like, that is just crazy when you actually put it in perspective how quickly they clinched, which is both how awesome they have been. Like, they're on pace to have the most wins in history, which is more than when LeBron did in back-to-back years at 66, I believe. They're on pace for, I think, 68, if I'm not mistaken. So, absolutely incredible.
Later.
And I do also, I like your Bucks pick. The only reason I'm hesitant is because when they do lose, it always pisses me off the way they find ways to lose. It's like, how did you lose that game now? Like, they always find unique ways to lose that make me mad. But I agree with you. If it comes down to your top two players or anyone else's top two players, I like my odds with Giannis in that 50 piece for sure. And as long as Kyle Kuzma keeps his hair relatively tamed, I don't need him going too crazy with that, then there's a good chance. I did notice you left out the Nuggets, though. Is that an indictment on Nikola Jokic, or are you just basically saying, I don't trust the rest of them?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
It's really just I don't trust the rest of them. I think down to the Nuggets, I've been burned too many times trying to bet them. So at this point in time, it's just a matter of, all right, well, I trust the Bucks a little bit more because they haven't burned me. And the Warriors, I could bet Steph to hit a certain number of threes every time, and it's money. So
that's fair. And we both left the Lakers off. I mostly did it due to I'm worried about them staying healthy, especially LeBron getting banged up. Luka's been banged up this year. And they're a really good team, but I think that it's also that only having one quote-unquote big man on your team and it being Jackson Hayes, I'm still getting a little bit worried come playoff time. I think in that 7-game series, that's where you get a little bit rough.